Hey guys, TB here, and doing something a little different today. Yesterday on the Yoshino video that I posted, David King posted a question saying this. I was wondering whether getting the reload modification for slot 1 and then the armament modification 1 to make up for survivability is a good option for battleships to give them German-like reload speeds, especially with the elite gun operator skill for Yamato, for example. Could you test with the press account? So first, thanks for the question. Do appreciate it. This is the kind of things I've been looking forward to being able to do with the press account, and things that I've been able to do for fleet mates and guys that have come and asked me questions. But this is the first video I've actually done on it. And it's interesting because I had a similar conversation with one of my fleet mates about this yesterday. So I guess just to preface the conversation, I am not a fan, generally speaking, of main battery modification 2, as seen here, because yeah, you do get that 5% faster reload, but you're going to lose turrets more often. Your turret survivability goes down 25%. So what that means is that your turrets are only 75% as strong and resistant to being damaged as they were previously. So for me, when I look at that, I don't generally think, and I say generally because there are a couple of boats that I do run this on, but generally speaking, I don't feel that that 5% increase in reload speed is worth that cost of the survivability. Now, you did bring up the fact that you can jump down to slot 3 and you can do armament modification 1 right here, which buffs your main battery addition, your secondary, your torpedo tubes. But what we're looking at here is the main battery survivability by 25%. So you could run this in conjunction with main battery mod 2, and then for at least your main guns, you're back to 0. You're back to, you've got negative 25%, you've got positive 25%. They balance each other out, and you're back to 0. And you can do that, but now you're giving up slot 3 just to counterbalance slot 1. And so yeah, you're getting the secondary survivability, the extra there. I don't know that I really care, at least personally. Yeah, my secondaries get knocked out, especially on battleships from time to time. Yamato, there's only 2 secondaries that can get knocked out, and so you could argue that it might be beneficial there, but how often is it that critical? In my mind, how often is it that critical for that to be there? Torpedo tube survivability, yeah, that's fantastic. Destroyers lose their torpedo tubes all the time. And so that might be something that if you're going to run that on a torpedo boat, then you get to 0 the main battery survivability loss, and then you get an extra 25% on your torpedo tubes. You might make that argument, but sticking with battleships, because there's only a couple that even have torpedo tubes, is really irrelevant. So when I look at that, though, and running this to counter the loss that you get from running the reload in slot 1, to me just isn't worth it, especially compared to things like having the steering gear mod 2, which is what I run in slot 3 on almost all of my boats, or even the argument could always be made, especially for Yamato with its awesome torpedo defense, to run this one. I run steering on Yamato because I'd rather dodge torpedoes than eat them and take less damage. And I figure I'm not that great at dodging torpedoes, but I can only get better by practicing and giving myself the ability to do that. Better with the better steering, to me, is definitely worth it. And then same in slot, going back to slot 1, we'll take a look at the numbers and just for academic sake, but still, I personally, my personal belief is that it's just not worth it. The speed increase on your reload is so marginal that it's just, to me, it's not worth it. The good rule of thumb to remember is that you have to have a 20-second reload to start with before you will see even a 1-second decrease in your reload speed. And so especially for cruisers and destroyers, if you're going to run this, you're always going to see, a less than 1 second increase. And I know, because I've been there too, there's times where you just need that little bit faster reload in order to get that shot off before you get killed or something, or to get that kill before somebody outsnakes it from you. You know who you are. But the counter argument that I would make to that is that ultimately, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what your reload time is, what your reload speed is. You're always going to be in a situation where you just needed it to be a little bit faster. And so I don't think that using that as an argument is valid either. So at least not in my opinion. And again, this is all my opinion, my thoughts on it. You guys are welcome to disagree with me. I disagree with myself sometimes. But the point is that I got the question, I wanted to respond to it and give my thought process so that you guys at least had a different perspective to look at things from, to chew on, and then to decide what's best for you. So I think that's enough of my soapbox. So I thought we would take a look at Yamato, because that was what David asked specifically about. I also was going to take a quick look at the Yoshino numbers with and without the slot 1 reload equipment, just because we looked at it yesterday. It'd be kind of a nice counterpoint. And then I thought I'd take a look at the Worcester, just because I know some guys run the slot 1 here as well. And I thought we would just look at a couple numbers just to give you guys something to look at. Basically, we got a battleship, a heavy cruiser, and then a light cruiser. So with the way I've got Yamato set up, with the way I would run it on my personal account, we've got a reload time of 22.31 seconds. And then I am running dispersion just because the turret traverse is so horrendously bad that even throwing an extra 20% at it doesn't make a difference. And I know because I ran the extra 20% for a while. On all 3 of these boats that we're going to look at, I do have Elite Gun Operator selected as the Elite bonus. So if you are running the other option, because who runs Meritorious Service? If you're running the other option on any of these boats, then the numbers are obviously going to be different. But this was kind of the question David had, was if I'm already running EGO and I'm going to take the equipment in slot 1, what do the numbers look like? And especially at tier 10, the equipment's so expensive to play with. So that's why I am happy to spend Wargaming Silver to do this for you guys. So let's go ahead and swap over to main battery mod 1. And what we're going to see now is a drop to 21.19 seconds. So a little over a second faster, which makes sense. Again, rule of thumb, 5% is 1/20th if you're looking at it as a fraction. So you need a 20-second reload to see a 1 second reduction. So we did see a little bit, about a second faster in the reload speed. But now we're going to have to deal with the reduced survivability of the turrets. And then, if we decided we wanted to take the slot 3 and change the rudder shift out, traverse speed 4.6 degrees per second, 16.69 turn time. If we swap that over and go back and look again, so the traverse speed, still 4.6. My short-term memory sucks. 4.6, but the turn time went way up. So the turn time jumped, 3 seconds? That's I know it's a battleship, it's big, it's sluggish, but that's still a considerable difference, I would think. Hang on a second. Reverse acceleration. Yeah. You know, and you're also you get the benefit of the steering gear. Again, is what it is. Hopefully you've got a repair kit handy if your steering gets knocked out. But anyways, as far as the guns go, like I said, running Elite Gun Operator and running reload in slot 1, we are going to see a reload, where to go, 21.19 seconds. So you're going to get a little over a second shaved off your reload time. Is that going to increase your DPM? Yeah, it is. You know, and you do have a pretty heavy broadside, so the argument could be made. You know, I don't like it. That's just me. Yoshino, reload time of 12.61 seconds. So if we were to swap this one, we go from 12.61. Oops. I am doing this live, by the way, so please forgive me. 12.61, we drop down to 11.98. So by running that reload in slot 1 with Elite Gun Operator, we get down just a hair under a 12-second reload. You're looking at a 0.63 second faster reload with the 5% boost in slot 1. A little over a half a second. I just don't see it, guys. And then for Worcester, or I'm sorry, Worcester, as they would say in the greater Boston area, reload is set at 4.66, which is pretty stinking quick. I am running turret traverse in slot 1, as you can see there, which gives me a turret traverse speed of 23.11 seconds. On a ship like Worcester that is very maneuverable, keeping that rudder in slot 3 does allow me to keep the boat moving, to dodge incoming fire, or try to dodge incoming fire, and incoming torpedoes. Anybody who's tried to fight against a Worcester being driven by somebody that knows how to move it, they can be a pain in the ass to hit. And with that, I want to make sure that if I'm ducking and dodging and doing the hippie hippie shake, as Jingles so eloquently put it the other day, the ability to keep my guns on target and having those turrets turning is critical, in my personal opinion. That said, if we were to go ahead and drop this in here, we'd drop from 4.66 all the way down to 4.42. And we lose 4 degrees a second on our turret traverse. So turrets are still pretty stinking quick. That might even be fast enough to keep up with whatever maneuvering I'm doing and keeping my guns on target. So that might just be fine. You've got 6 guns, so you know, losing 1 or even 2 with the reduced survivability on your turrets may not be the end of the world. But I would argue the value of that 5% reload speed increase on a ship that's already shooting that fast. So I did get talked into trying it on my Harugumo yesterday, only because with the reload speed on that boat and the 5 guns, it reduced the lag at the end of the 5th turret, so that it basically just kept a consistent tempo, firing all 5 guns if you're chain firing. I don't know that I'm going to keep it there, but I figured that it was proposed to me, and I was playing Harugumo because I was trying to get main gun hits for a weekly mission, and it seemed like it was worth at least giving a try to. So I had a little extra silver on my main account, and I gave that a go. I haven't decided if I'm going to keep it there or not. The tempo does feel a little smoother, and that might be the one argument to make with the Worcester here for running it. But ultimately, at the end of the day, that 5%, it's such a small amount. I just don't personally see the value. So anyways, David, I hope that answered your question. Do appreciate, again, you sending it in. Thank you so much. appreciate, interested to see your guys' thoughts and comments in the comments below here. If you want to drop a statement or a question or a disagreement, go for it. Definitely appreciate it. In the meantime, thanks so much for watching, and see you guys out there.